Welcome everyone, those are here at Ngāpuna Sports Hub and watching at home from the comfort of your couch. If you've even left the bed on this beautiful Sunday morning for the last day of the 2023 New Zealand Ultimate Championships. Division 1, it is the open division, a semi-final between the Wildcats from Wellington and Dogma from Christchurch. Vala with the pull. It's Broughton and Whitlock. Robertson on the far sideline, puts a huge shot up. Who is he looking for? A lot of pressure from that Dogma. Tried to get that throw away a little quickly on the Wildcat side. It's not going to come down. That is an early opportunity here for Dogma to put one on the board. We see Dogma setting up now in a vertical stack, trying to create channels along the near and far sidelines. Whitlock with the great interception, but it looks like a contact has been called. So a reminder for those watching at home, Ultimate is a non-contact sport. But it's also self-officiated, so players will take it upon themselves to make calls and resolve them as they occur on the field. Vala with the disc. Puts a low backhand. Somehow manages to keep that one off the turf. Richard Fernando baits a huge layout. Doesn't manage to get the shot off because there's too much pressure from the Wildcats defense happening downfield. It's Sanders with the disc on the far sideline. Marked by Gordon. Threads one through, finds McIntosh. It's Lee with the disc, goes back to McIntosh. Huge play by Teo Lenards. Teo Lenards goes wide to Lee, marked by Fitzpatrick. Tough drop by Jar. Nice early work, Whitlock to Gordon. Fitzpatrick far sideline, puts the huge shot up. Who's he looking for? Throws out of bounds. What an exciting start to this game, and what a wonderful start to this morning, courtesy of the cafe at Ngāpuna and Catering the Box, the coffee on whose energy the ulti.TV machine runs. Just a reminder for those locals, they also do a weekly brunch, a brunch buffet. Such fantastic generosity there. $22 a head, and under 12s eat for $1 per year of age. Come in, soak up the atmosphere, enjoy some sports, make sure you're well fed while you do so. Fernando taking the disc. Goes wide with a high forehand. Finds Lee. Manages to sneak one inside Robertson. It's Fernando who manages to pull it down, puts a big shot up. He's looking for Sanders. There's a bit of argy-bargy. Out of nowhere, Jack Keddy with the intercept. Broughton. Robertson near sideline now. Fernando closing in, goes around. Fitzpatrick Cockram to Broughton again. Quick offload to Keddy. Some fakes to cue something happening. Broughton manages to save it, signaling Robertson to go deep. And a pick has been called. So for those watching at home who may not be aware, a pick, as this is a non-contact sport, just means that a defender's ability to pursue their opposition was impeded by the positioning or movement of another player. So as it's a non-contact sport, players have to be mindful of the lines that they take, just as Lachlan Robertson did, getting free on the far sideline, working with Broughton. Some nice little disc bouncing. Gordon trying to push deep for a score, but it's Whitlock. Pulls in just outside the end zone. Finds Fitzpatrick Cockram for the opening score of the game. A huge first point, 4.5 minutes Wildcats up by 1. And so the Wildcats will come out on defense now. A great grind from the Christchurch team. Dogma putting in some amazing work to really force the Wildcats back. Finally managing to string a series of passes together. Robertson and Broughton working with Whitlock to just punch that one through. Fitzpatrick Cockram for the score. Wildcats defensive line. Neal with the pull. Sends it deep. Jack Lewis. Low. Bryn Douglas against the Wildcats zone. Riley Van Turnhout with the disc, finds Fitzpatrick. Far sideline, works back with Van Turnhout. Goldby wants to put up a big shot. Just works the line, gentle. Some great upline work by Van Turnhout, manages to snatch it. There's not enough developing downfield. He takes a second, marked by Bryn Douglas. Goes wide to Neal. Goldby again. That's Neal. Fitzpatrick. Back to Neal. Fitzpatrick. Great attempt there to Finn McKenzie. Hodgman gets the disc near sideline, marked by Neal. Works around with Lowe, marked by Jew. Huge play by Goldby there to stop Muldrew getting possession for Dogma. Then Turnhout to pick up the disc, marked by Douglas. Neal there in support. Fitzpatrick trying to make an isolation cut, can't do it. Neal with the layout grab as Hodgman goes over the top. Wildcats 2, Dogma 0. Wildcats a hold and a break early in the game. The defensive pressure that we've seen from these players, it's not insurmountable, but it is definitely oppressive. The Wildcats carrying the weight of their champion's pride. Taylor, Hogg, Van Turnhout, Reisner. Whitlock, Keddy. And Gordon for the Wildcats defense. Douglas, Walker, Lowe, Lewis, Rauber for Dogma. The pull touching down inside the end zone. They have to play from there. A great place for the Wildcats to really pile on the pressure. It's Lewis, works to the sideline. Rauber has the disc. Wildcats playing a bit of a zone look. Looking to target space to provide a wall that Dogma are going to have to break through if they want to put one on the board. Rauber has it. And managed to generate a turn there, the Wildcats. Whitlock and Van Turnhout back, two powerful handlers for the Wellington side. Whitlock goes early around, takes some yards with a snappy forehand to find Gordon. Reisner cutting deep. Covered tight by Walker. Van Turnhout on an upline, so close to the end zone. Quick dish to Whitlock for the score, who gently places the disc down on the corner cone. Sheer cheek as Wildcats go up 3-0 over Christchurch's Dogma. And so a timeout has been called, likely by Dogma from Christchurch. The team's huddling on the field as they look to evaluate how the game is going so far. Dogma probably taking some time to think what mistakes are being made. How can we reduce those errors? How can we stop giving the Wildcats opportunities to score? Semi-finals in the New Zealand Ultimate Championships, it's high level. It isn't just the skill and athleticism that's gotten the teams this far. It's also the mental toughness, the resolve, the adaptability. Having the inner strength to evaluate and reflect and make changes on the fly as the game demands it. The Wildcats Division 2 counterparts, Wild Kitchens, who came to cook in a recent victory on our stream coverage of the Division 2 Ultimate Championships over the Brisbaneites from Australia. Such a good game, definitely worth a watch. Whitlock providing a little bit of last-minute advice and information. The defensive line being sent out by the Wildcats now. Rivers, Van Turnhout, Fitzpatrick. And Robertson with the pull. Lowe and Douglas to start things off. A low forehand. Fitzpatrick shuts it down with a layout block. Not quite lined up with Rauber. Van Turnhout with a no-look backhand to the hard-running Robertson. Bounces one off Goldby. A laser beam through to Robertson right on the doorstep. Fitzpatrick Cochrane comes down with it. Wildcats 4, Dogma 0. Wildcats to come out on defense yet again. Whitlock, Van Turnhout, Robertson, Hogg, Reisner. Taylor and Norzal. Coming down against Douglas. Low, Walker, Hodgman. Wildcats up by 4. That's Lewis. A great knee slide by Muldrew to keep that one alive. Back to Low. To Douglas. Whitlock gets a hand on it. And Van Turnhout closes that one out. What a great touch and a great block. Dogma starting to look a little bit rattled. The pressure from the Wildcats defense is getting to them as they set up in a vertical stack. Van Turnhout centers the disc to Whitlock. Norzal pushing deep. It's Taylor with the disc. No real resets, but Reisner's there. Just in bounds. Manages to keep that one. Looks back, finds Whitlock. Van Turnhout very squirrely. Fields the scuba like it's nothing. Wildcats go up 5 over Dogma. Just like we mentioned in yesterday's showcase game between Ellipsis, putting together their men and women's teams to create a large mixed roster as they faced off against the New Zealand All-Stars, a quasi-tournament team, pulled together a couple of players from each of our Division 1 sides. Upside down discs mean that the luck doesn't fall out. Wildcats defensive line again. Hogg, Zhu, Kitty, Gordon, Goldby, and Neal. Neal with the pull. Good defense starts with a great pull, and there's a lot of float underneath. Goldby, Hogg, and McKenzie hard chased down to try and stifle the offense early. It's Fernando. Chips one through to Sanders. Vala pushes the disc to the far sideline. There's a massive crossfield hammer looking for McIntosh. It's not in. What a great shot, though. Lee with an amazing cover. Huge crossfield hammer. And just a beautiful, some textbook indoor, a great jump in there from Justin Lee. 99 for Dogma to put them on the board to score 5-1 to the Wildcats. There's the hammer. We see it again, a wide open McIntosh, pulls it down, can't quite tow it in. Justin Lee jumps that one in, streaking in from the left-hand side of your screen. What a put by Sam Lennartz. And now Dogma get to come out on defense for the second time in the game. Great pull by Vala. But it's Hogg, Broughton, Taylor, Whitlock. Puts one up for Fitzpatrick Cockram. He's got the speed. Has he got it? Yes, he does. No. The curse of the commentator. Spoke a little too early. Had the foot speed, managed to close down. But somewhere there was a disconnect between the feet and the hands. Couldn't get to it. It's going to give Dogma the disc. This is what they need. Wala to Cooper. Goes back. Finds McIntosh, marked by Taylor. Nice little inside backhand. Sanders winds up and holsters. Calls for Vala to come through as a reset option. There's too much traffic. The stall count's getting high. Threads one through to Cooper over Whitlock. But it looks like there may have been a call. So a stall called. In Ultimate, the player with the disc cannot move, but they also only have 10 seconds as counted by their opposition to release control of the disc, or it's an automatic turnover. So it looks like they're going to contest that. Sanders believing he'd release the disc before the first T of 10 was uttered by Tyler Hogg. So with that contested call, disc is going to come in still on a very high stall count, so Sanders is not going to have a lot of time to decide what he wants to do. Quick shot right across. McIntosh and Vala, great bid by Robertson. Snatched down by McIntosh with a big hammer across. Great play by Tyler Hogg, means it's not going to be brought down by anything other than gravity. Whitlock laser beam through to Fitzpatrick, finds Hogg far sideline, continues up the line, finds Taylor. Rivers open in the deep space, slowly getting closed down by McIntosh. Vala trying to get into defensive position, but he can't stop Robertson. Robertson. Maybe he can stop Robertson. Vala on defense. Robertson with a very low release to Whitlock for the score. Wildcats 6, Dogma 1. What a low release shot there by Robertson to Whitlock for the score. Wildcats to come out on defense in this game to 15, taking the Dogma boys for a bit of a walk. Minutes. Neal gives the signal for the pull, puts the shot up. Hodgman, Walker, Raba, Nauman, Lewis setting up in a side stack. A classic Hamilton fusion play, the nice dead horse for the score, setting up in a side stack. All the players flooding across the field. Campbell, Nauman on a two-step undercut, getting the disc in a great position to just send one long. just like they drew it up. Douglas waits for the under. It's Nauman. Goldby can't stop it. The big left hand. It goes up. For Jack Lewis. Number 10, putting Dogma on the board again. 6-2 Wildcats. Have to be honest, of all the pool plays, that one's got to be one of my favorites. You do, in fact, love to see it. Broughton, Whitlock, fielding the pull as we set up in a vertical stack for the Wildcats offense. Hogg on a nice undercut, quick offload to Whitlock. Taylor, nice big fake, shifting the defense. Goes around Sanders, Whitlock right up the line. It's Fitzpatrick to Reisner for the score. What a rundown. Such quick offense from the Wildcats. And a timeout has been called. Wildcats are 1 point away from taking half. Fitzpatrick right on the doorstep. Reisner making sure those toes stay in as the momentum carries her out of the end zone. Some great work there by the Wildcats offense. So the winner of this match is going to proceed to our open final. Wildcats up by 5. They are 5-time champions, winning both the 2021 New Zealand Ultimate Championship and the 2022 New Zealand Ultimate Championship. Undefeated in last year's national tournament, as well as winning the 2022 and 2023 qualifying events, the Miharo Disc Championships. Wildcats first to break after the timeout. Probably had a lot less to talk about, being 5 points up, knowing that what they're doing is working. Dogma taking a little bit longer, recognizing that they've been able to put points on the board. They've got the skill, just something executionally. It's the Macintosh fans in the stands. By the looks of things, they want Theo McIntosh to cook and eat their babies. Unclear based on the wording of that sign. Whitlock has the desk for the pull for the Wildcats. Van Turnhout, Mackenzie, Rivers, Gordon, Zhu. Jack Lewis, Douglas, and Lowe finds Walker at the halfway. Hodgman to Bryn Douglas. This is where he's most dangerous. Though he definitely took a few steps with the disc on that one. Lewis with a big fake. Has to go to low on the far sideline. Slight miscomm. Jack Lewis goes to ground, but he can't get it. Wildcats setting up on a vertical stack. Van Turnhout and Whitlock in the handler space. Rivers a little too close. Van Turnhout on a great upline. Hodgman not able to stop him. Tries to close off the middle of the field, but it doesn't matter because Whitlock continues to push up line. Zhu pressuring the deep space. Whitlock uses those long arms to go around, finds Van Turnhout to bounce the disc off. Sneaks one inside Hodgman for the probably the most stylish jump in we've seen this entire tournament. He's out here, he's stunting on him. So awash, his body aflood with adrenaline to the point where he missed even the most delicate of kick spikes. But after that jump in, who can blame you? Quick dish, gets Hodgman off the back foot, a little stutter step. A nice floaty pass out in front. Is it just me or did he click his heels as he went across the line? Wildcats take half, 8-2 over Christchurch's Dogma. We will be back with you very soon for the second half of this semi-final match. My name is Blair Monroe at the Ngā Wai Sports Hub in Christchurch, supported by ulti.TV. If you like what you see and you want to help us bring you the very best in ultimate coverage in New Zealand, Australia, and around the globe, head on over to patreon.com/ulti.tv and give us your spare change. We'll see you soon.
Help score electric, become a member.
Let's go, Dogma!
And we are back for the second half as the pull goes up. Dogma to start on offense. Low, and Bryn Douglas facing down an aggressive Wildcats zone, headed by Van Turnhout, Keddy, and Golby. Muldrew working, doing everything he can to get upfield. Nauman pressured by Reisner, manages to slip one away. It's Muldrew again. Raba marked by McKenzie, back to Muldrew. Raba on an upline, but Fitzpatrick Cockram drops off. Great bid by Golby, but it's not going to be enough. Lewis finds low, midfield marked by Van Turnhout. We look to have dropped the zone in favour of match defence as Dogma pressure and come closer to the end zone. Raba gets a bite out of Fitzpatrick Cockram, comes back inside, finds Douglas. Dom Low takes a couple of extra steps, but manages to find Lewis in the end zone for the score. Dogma go up 3 against the Wildcats 8. A great start for them for the second half at the Ngāpuna Wai Sports Hub. My name, as always, is Blair Munro, and it is a pleasure and a privilege to be your eyes and ears on the ground, to provide context and commentary for the very best sport in all the world. Wellington Wildcats versus Christchurch Dogma in the New Zealand Ultimate Championships Open Division semi-final for Division 1. Up next, very exciting, we have our women's final between Ellipsis from Australia and the Blueberries from Auckland, the fast Blueberries. Ellipsis having just touched Nexus Affinity out of the finals. Blueberries have long wanted to put a gold medal for the women's division on their necks and on their shelves. This might be their chance. But right now, it's Dogma. Vala with the pull, puts it long for a Wildcats offensive line. Joel Gordon, Jack Keddy, Tyler Hogg, Taylor, Broughton, Whitlock, and Robertson facing down a Dogma zone. High angle blade to Robertson from Whitlock. He fakes the big. Tyler Hogg covered too tightly by McIntosh, so it goes to Whitlock instead, pushing towards the far sideline, finds Broughton. Lee in front, but he can't stop it getting to Tyler Hogg. Great upline. Puts a little height on it for Whitlock to reel in. Some big fakes as the disc just isn't going to get to where it needs to go. Slight overthrow of Robertson, and Fernando for Dogma is going to intercept that one, marked by Keddy. Has to go wide to Lee, just inside, far sideline marked by Broughton, manages to sneak one inside to find McIntosh. He's left alone, but he pushes one up line to Fernando on the far sideline. To Lee, another big forehand fake, comes with the backhand, but it's got a lot of float underneath it. Who's going to be there? It's Tyler Hogg! Needing 2 other players to cushion his fall as the big man hits the ground. Whitlock finds Robertson, who puts a big forehand up. Keddy's underneath it, but it's double coverage. Fernando and Jar. Fernando gets the first bite, but as it comes to ground, Keddy with a layout grab. Wildcats going to 9 over the Dogma 3. What a huge play. Please tell me we're going to get to see that again. Robertson rips the top off, lets the grenade go. Double coverage. Kitty goes early. Fernando gets a tip. Kitty catches it on the way down. What a way to finish that point. Great heads-up awareness by Kitty on that play. Just amazing, not giving up on the disc. That's what the New Zealand Ultimate Championships is all about. Neil with the disc. For the pull as Wildcats come back down on defense. Huge pull by Neil. Deep but with a lot of float. Low gets underneath it. Douglas tries to come back, has to go wide, gets the disc on the far sideline, lets a huge backhand rip. Neil closing on Campbell Nauman. Huge early bid by Neil, manages to just throw off Campbell Nauman's timing just enough for it to come back overhead. Goes early, just generates that little bit of mistiming. Necessary defensive play. Intensity is everything. You don't need to get a touch on the disc to get a turn. It's Van Turnhout now. Neil again. Zhu shaking off the defender, trying to shake free, trying to push deep. Hodgman putting the pressure on the defense. McKenzie's got it. Marked by Lewis. The wind starting to pick up a little bit. Very pressured. Has to put one up. That's going to give the disc back to Dogma. McKenzie with the forehand. Goldby. He went up. Looks like the wind may have pushed the disc a little low. Lewis to Douglas for the finish. This is what Dogma needed, a little bit of momentum. We are closing in on 45 minutes of our 90-minute cap in a game to 15 for the semi-finals for the New Zealand Ultimate Championships. One of our Division 1 Women's Division finalists dancing to warm up. Thankfully, our cameraman Mike is not on screen. There we go. Perhaps a jump to the other camera so we can get back to the game at hand as Broughton fires one across to Whitlock. Goes wide to Broughton against a Dogma zone defense. Harry Jones, Caleb Milne up front. Broughton not under a huge amount of pressure. Whitlock coming all the way through for a nice comfortable reset. Comes wide to Fitzpatrick. Snaps one back to Whitlock as Theo McIntosh takes him out a little bit. Fitzpatrick Cockram keeps that one off the grass. Goes back, finds Whitlock. Reisner wide open on the far sideline, looked off in favor of a high angle. Outside in blade to Fitzpatrick one more time, bounces through to Broughton. Fitzpatrick one more time, drops back to find Whitlock. We're in the danger zone. McIntosh on defense. Milne can't close that one out. Pushing the disc to the far sideline. Just some great little handler movement, playing a game of keep away. He puts the blade across. The blue bomber lets it rip. He sends it deep into the far corner on the near sideline for Broughton. As the Wildcats hit double digits. 10 over the Dogma 4. What a find. Just two players playing keep away from the Dogma defense until something opened up. An unmarked player. Huge vision. Unsure if a timeout has been called, but there is a Wildcats full team huddle. 7 Dogma players already on the line. Hodgman, Walker, Douglas, Lowe, Lewis, Neal with the disc for the Wildcats defensive line. Norzal, Robertson, Van Turnhout, McKenzie. Goes deep. Douglas v. Goldby. Douglas gets one away and a pick has been called. So if a defender's ability to follow their opposition player is impeded by the positional movement of any player on the team, regardless of which team, a pick is called and the players are given an opportunity to catch up to where they reasonably think they would have been. Neal closing in the trap. Douglas with a big forehand. Huge work by Campbell Nauman to eat that one up, bringing Dogma within 5. That's the Bryn Douglas special. An angled forehand out into space. A lot of players underneath that one, but Nauman had the pace. McKenzie doing a great job of trying to close that distance. Just a really well put throw. Great play there. Great effort by Nauman to reel that one in. Sam Taylor-Nards with the disc. A visionary of a player.
Let's go, Dogma! Let's go, Dogma!
Whitlock fields the pull, walking up the field with Broughton. McIntosh putting a flat force on to try and stop the big shot. Fitzpatrick Cockram goes back to Whitlock. Broughton gets it. Unbothered by Stevenson. Whitlock near sideline. Snaps off the forehand looking for Kitty. Can't get there. The disc is going to go over to Dogma. Fernando to pick up the disc, bring it to the front of the end zone, supported by Milne. Kitty and Taylor to start off the defense as Dogma play out of a vertical stack. Stevenson pushed out and back towards the center of the stack. Broughton got there before McIntosh. There's going to be no call on that play. Whitlock's got it. He puts the forehand up to the far side this time. Kitty's under it. Wildcats go to 11, 4 points away from a victory. A long road ahead for the Dogma side. They've been able to snatch together a few points, but their pathway to the finals is looking darker with each passing moment. Neal, Dew, Reisner, McKenzie, Rivers, Gordon on the line for the Wildcats to send out an aggressive defensive line, hoping for another early break. Great attempt by McIntosh, but it's not going to be enough. Some PG intel from the far sideline as the Wildcats line are told they're shooting like mother truckers. We're going to see a match defense, I believe a backhand force, so forcing that is towards the near sideline. Try and take away those, backhand force will be towards the far sideline. Gordon lets the backhand go to Raba. Swings one back inside. Bryn Douglas working with Muldrew. Raba to Lowe, puts one out to Raba. It's inbounds, but it's not in for a score. Reisner getting those long arms busy, putting a huge amount of pressure. The hammer goes up. There's lots of players underneath it. And Wildcats are going to come down with that one. I think that was Finn McKenzie to shut that down. A travel has been called. Neil Van Turnhout. The handlers, little bit of miscommunication there. This is what Dogma need. Are we going to see something called as Bryn Douglas approaches the disc? Jack Lewis with a hot step, snatching some ankles and pulling the point in. Dogma 6 against the Wildcats 11. Great bid by Edwin Rivers, but it's not enough there. McIntosh, Milne, Fernando, Sanders. Taylor Nartz on the defensive line for Dogma. There is the pull. Wildcats once again, Broughton and Whitlock. Hogg on an aggressive cut, but he's marked tight by Lee. Taylor tries the other side, marked by Milne. Robertson manages to get it over late. Taylor Nartz. A gentle forehand to find Fitzpatrick on the near sideline. Broughton trying to shake free. Dave Sanders out of nowhere. The circle cut sensei offloads one to Taylor Nartz. To Lee, marked by Gordon. Taylor Nartz signaling for the disc. Robertson makes a bid, but Caleb Milne comes down with it, pushing to the far sideline. McIntosh not able to pull that one down, so the disc is going to go back to Wildcats. It's got Whitlock with the disc. Taking his time. Goes around. Robertson. And a foul's called. Milne's pursuit of Whitlock. Looks to have been some contact against either the body or the feet. Taylor has the disc. Robertson provides a safe reset. Whitlock with a great layout to keep that slight overthrow in bounds. Snaps an inside forehand through to Broughton to bring Wildcats within 3 of the finals. They've been there before. They want to be there again. We have just passed high noon here at the Ngāpuna Y Sports Hub. The sun as good as directly overhead. Great layout there by Whitlock to keep the play alive. What a slide by the Blue Bomber. And then a crisp inside forehand for the score. Low, Raba, Walker, Douglas, Lewis for Dogma. Neal with the pull for the Wildcats. 3 away from a win. It's got a lot of float. And a brick will be called, so the disc must have contacted the ground just outside of the play boundary. Lowe going to bring that disc up to the brick mark, 18 metres in front of the end zone in centre field. Van Turnhout, Norzal and Rivers on the Arrowhead zone. Van Turnhout getting busy, switching things up. Lewis comes near sideline to find Walker. It's Raba. Muldrew goes around. Quick bounce off Lewis to Lowe. Back to Lewis to Muldrew. Back to Lowe. A key handler for this Dogma side. Is this it? Looks like that one was definitely out. Signaled by Richard Fernando on Dogma. not trying to take anything for free. There's a lot of float on their forehand. Foul called by Kitty on Douglas. So once again, a self-officiated sport. The players are going to be the ones who resolve the call. There's definitely contact there. Might be the argument that the contact threw off Kitty's timing. But we'll have to wait for the players to resolve this before we're able to resume play. And before we find out exactly what happened. This looks like the foul is going to be accepted. And as soon as the disc is checked in, Kitty calls a timeout. After that foul call, all the players had to take the same position and hold static while that discussion happened. Kitty much further downfield than any of his teammates. It's a really bad position when a defender is on top of you and able to start a stall count immediately.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ulti.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
And we are back after a nice little ad break. Just to remind you that we at ulti.TV, we're here for you. We're here for the players. Your support makes all of this possible. Help grow the sport with us. But right now at the New Zealand Ultimate Championships, Wildcats versus Dogma. Kitty calling a timeout after a resolved foul call. Discussion between him and Bryn Douglas. All of the remaining Wildcats players were further upfield. So it's not a great position to be in when a stall count is being started by your opposition and you're having to use a few seconds for your teammates to catch up. So following this timeout, Kitty is going to have the disc. The Wildcats are going to be given the opportunity to set up an offensive structure, and then Dogma will be able to respond to it before play resumes.
Hey, Jake, you can probably set once the disc comes in, you can probably sit a little bit. I'll tell you when you're on game. You can tighten up.
The disc is checked in. Neil tries for an upline. There's a lot of contact on Van Turnhout's continuation upline. Comes back for Neil. Kitty to Van Turnhout for the score. Wildcats within two. The energy brought by this Wellington side is unmatched. We're going to see that again to Kitty. Van Turnhout just manages to find a channel on the outside shoulder on the far sideline of his defender. Manages to come away with the score for that one. Reisner, Gordon, Taylor, Hogg, Goldby, Robertson, once again, huge love in the stands for Theo McIntosh. One might think it curious that the Ultimate Championships would be the best place to make presumably unsolicited requests for impregnation, but Ultimate always has attracted a colourful cast of characters as Campbell Nauman receives the disc for Dogma, puts a big left-handed forehand up, looking for Hodgman. Goldby's underneath it. And a foul has been called on that one as well. Late stages in the game, the energy is running high. The fatigue starts to set in. There's a little bit less body awareness between players. So it looks like a strip foul was called. So Hodgman making the argument that he'd actually sustained control of the disc, but that contact knocked it out of his hand, or possibly knocked the disc. Looks like it's going to be contested. So that disc is going to go back to Nauman at the midfield. Players going to try and return to as close a spot as they were in. Nauman has to work around Hogg, finds Brent Douglas. Douglas puts it up, looking for Rubber. Takes a little too long to identify the path of the disc. Manages to get a hand to it, but it flies off. It's going to give the disc back to the Wildcats, who could put one away here to take them one away from the finals. Such a great chase down by Luke Raba.
Let's go, let's work. Go up, hand in, okay. Caleb,
Robertson has Goldby going deep. He's responded with another clapped fumble.
forehand. Hey, let's go now.
Some great territorial offense.
Okay, great cut, Lord, great cut, Lord. Hey, Andy, you're also no hug, okay? I'll tell you with the right. I'll tell you with the right.
Brent Douglas has the disc. Goes wide, far sideline, tips off the hands of Hodgman. Robertson's got it. He's just going to put it all the way. No, instead finds Tyler Hogg in the midfield. Robertson again. Rison's got a hand up in the far corner. Decides to come to Andy Jew on the near sideline with a cheeky toe drag. Wildcats one away. We'll see that again. Hogg's going to find Robertson on a slash cut. Cross the front of the end zone. Had options on the far side of the field with a hammer. Comfortably in. What a great toe touch by Zhu. Robertson looking off a couple of good options in favor of a great one and also a dynamic one as control is sustained with that last footfall before Zhu's momentum carries him out of the field. Wildcats, 70 minutes into the game, 14-6 over Dogma. One break away from a win. Low, Walker, Lewis, Muldrew, Nauman, Raba. Facing off for what might be the last time, Whitlock, Keddy, Norzal, Rivers, Fitzpatrick, Van Turnhout, Mackenzie. Muldrew's got it, marked by Mackenzie. Gets to work towards centre field. Chips to the far sideline for Raba, marked by Van Turnhout. Lewis has the deck, has the disc, manages to fire one forwards through to Mike Muldrew. Lowe tries to chase that one down, but it was out of range. Van Turnhout approaching the disc. Very, very close to a game finisher here. We are seeing a vertical stack pushing deep, trying to isolate Fitzpatrick. Van Turnhout pushes on the up line. Whitlock almost double covered. Some Credo players trying to take on too many assignments at once. Norzal gets the score off a bullet from the Blue Bomber to finish the game. Wildcats 15, Dogma 6. What a finish. Great work by Norzal. Those gloves make all the difference at Ngā Punawai Sports Hub in Christchurch. This is the end of one of the semi-finals. We're going to see the Wildcats again very soon in our final match in the New Zealand Ultimate Championships here in Christchurch. My name is Blair Monroe, supported by ulti.TV. What a pleasure to be here with you today. We will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.